Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope that you guys are having a decent start to your weekend so far. I will wait for a few of you guys to join me in the chat, and I am looking forward to being here with all of you. Um, because it has been an interesting week, I think, for everybody. I don't think I'm alone in saying that, it's been a challenge a little bit for a lot of people. And normally we'd be doing a craft right now, but I've had one of those days where, I feel like just doing a voice thing for tonight, I think. For a few reasons. One, it's like everyone has had a very long week, and I'm definitely in the same boat as many of you guys. So I figured, you know what, I'll come on and we'll just chat and you guys will be in the chat room. I'll be here on the microphone and we can just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Good evening, Joanne and Carrie Lee and Donna and Lisa over on YouTube and Heather, welcome, and Verna and Gina and Lisa. So, two Lisas on YouTube. Very cool. I'm doing well. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. It has been a good day. Actually, today's been a really good day. And so I'm looking forward to the next few months, even. That's how good of a day it was. Good evening, Linda and Melinda. Nice to see you guys and Nadine. So, how's everybody been feeling this week? I don't know about you guys, but I'm here in Ottawa. So, if you if you've stepped outside your door, you might have noticed that it's a little busy in our city, and there's a lot of crazy division of people, and people are really struggling a lot, and it's a hard time. And I think this isn't just here in Ottawa. I think this is kind of like all over the world. Even many people are just kind of really struggling a lot. And Lindsay says cray, lol. Yeah, cray is good. Let's remove the z's. They're sharp, so we'll just take them right out of the right out of the word. um yeah, and the energy out there has just been very, very intense and divisive. And I want to use the word volatile, even. I think, it has been a time where people are just short fused and hair triggers, and it's tough. Nadine says, I've been quite stressed and burnt out this week. Today was rough. Everybody that I talked to, Nadine, has been experiencing that. So you are not alone, even though it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. It's something that I think everyone's experiencing. And even when I've looked at like the energy of the entire planet, so not just North America, or well, we actually have people from all over the place on on this page. We've got like Canada, the US, we've got people in Argentina, we've got people in the UK, we've got people in Ireland, and we've got people in South Africa and Australia and New Zealand, all sorts of awesome people from awesome places. So, I often check in on the whole world's vibe. And I have to say, this is not local to North America and definitely not local to Ottawa. So this is something that so many people the world over are experiencing right now, and it's so challenging and so scary. I don't know if you guys saw my post the other day, but I had basically said that when all of this is over, my biggest wish and hope is that people will be forgiving towards each other, because I think there's so many people just sort of like pushing each other away when even a year ago they had their arms wrapped around each other, maybe not physically because we were in a pandemic, but they were supportive and loving. And I think everybody's just in this completely exhausted, fearful, and rightfully so. It's scary, fearful and angry place, and it's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. Becky says, I've never felt my energy so drained. Everyone that I talk to is experiencing. When I say everyone I talk to, I mean like a lot of people. So I don't mean like, Floozy the bird and me have decided that the world is in a WTF moment. It really is, a bit of pretty much people from all over the world are talking to me about these things. Um, so Angela says, wow, no fear here, just great energy and the hugs and smiles and love. Well, you, my friend, are one of the rare ones. And I think that's beautiful, and never lose that. Never lose that. Elaine says, feeling heavy and drained lately, and I haven't been outside my home. That's really That's really challenging. Lisa says scared of being scared. I think that's totally understandable. I mean, fear is a very uncomfortable thing. And I think fear is what's driving a whole lot of what's happening right now out in the world. I think I think if we look at what fear powers, it powers division, it powers misunderstanding, it powers anger, it powers hatred, it powers all kinds of things, even control and stuff like that. So, I think that that might be the biggest underlying energy that is sort of feeding the rest of all these things. Hello, Corina. Nice to see you. Um, Marcel says it's love winning and it's contagious, stronger than any virus they will try upon us. Yeah, I think love is the ultimate winner always. I mean, the light will always win. When we think about transmutation and transcendence and, like what's happening when it comes to the energetic side and the spiritual side of all of these things that are happening, it may look like we're going in circles. We're really not. We're all the universe, the world, every person, every single thing. It's always moving to its highest point of light. Always. It's consistently elevating in vibration. And this is obviously spiritual vibration, not necessarily physical vibration in a like a physics chemistry way. Um, but and when we reach certain points of this elevation, we hit a threshold, and at that threshold, that is where something like an ego death can happen, which is where all of the aspects of that being, or in our case, our world, that aren't functioning properly, they all come into the spotlight, and there's this push and pull and resistance and attempting to control everything until it actually can't and it reaches its highest crisis point and then it surrenders. And when it surrenders, it's surrendering not to itself, it's surrendering to the universe. I really believe that the universe always knows what it's doing. I really believe that the universe always has a plan, that, that it's ultimately always a beneficial and loving plan. And so when a person, or in this case, the world, is surrendering in that moment of ego death, which hasn't happened yet, but when it's surrendering to that divine will, to that higher awareness, that higher presence, and then in that moment, everything can change for the better. Who here has had a moment where everything in their life was absolutely falling apart, and they were full of anxiety and stress, and they were just trying to kind of like control everything, and then they have that moment where they just burst into tears and they break down, and it's like they're crying from their soul, and they realize that they have nothing that they can possibly do in this moment to fix all of the problems. And there's a lightening that happens with that. There's a moment where everything, all of a sudden, there's like a clarity that comes where you're like, okay, things are going to be okay. I don't know how they're going to be okay, but they're going to be okay. That that moment where it's completely raw and you're just you and the universe and nothing else, that moment is what happens at the exact precise moment of an ego death, which is interesting because when we look at physical death and when we look at what the spirit world has told us about physical passing, there's that the second someone passes away, they instantly awaken. They're instantly at one with the universe, with a complete and full understanding of everything that happened in their life from their perspective, but also from every other perspective, including the universe's. So they get a complete understanding of life on Earth. And I think that that same moment of profound clarity and connection with the universe is the same thing that happens to us in our earthly lives when we have an ego death, even though it's maybe not quite as profound or all encompassing. It's still this moment of absolute raw connection and surrender. And I think that we are, as a society, as a world, we are headed towards that. We're not there yet by any means, but we're headed towards that. And what we can look out for is the same things that we would look out for if we were in a healing journey, which most of us always are. But if we were approaching an ego death in a healing journey, we'd be looking for the signs of that. So, trying to control everything, tons of anxiety, tons of anger, resistance, trying to push things away, trying not to see the truth, like all of that is what we'd be looking for in a person. And that's exactly what we're seeing unfold as a society. And Yeah, so this is definitely a challenging moment for our world, and I think maybe the best thing that we can do with it is really step into it, not resist that change, comfort ourselves and other people and know that we are going to be okay. And this is something that I don't know if you guys had seen it, but back in November, I did a video called WTF is up with our world or something like that. And I basically, in a very gentle way, predicted a societal ego death. And a general sort of time frame at that time was the next few months. And I think that we are reaching that. And if I could further add to the prediction, between now and the end of March, a lot of huge things are going to change all over the world. And I think some of those changes will be really positive, but I feel like the moments before those positive changes happen, it's going to be very tense socially and maybe even politically and things like that. And so, what can we do in that time frame? And I think what we have to do is just try to be loving and kind, and understanding that everybody is collectively going through the ringer, and all of us are worthy of love. Even the people that we hate the most in the moment, they're still worthy of love and divine presence and compassion and understanding. So I think if we can take that approach, that would be, I think, maybe even the highest path. I've never felt like the highest path is non-involvement. I think the highest path is compassionate, loving, holding of space, and of assistance. Being of assistance when and where we can. Lorraine says, "How long have you known about this, Matt?" So the first vision that I got that this would eventually come was in it was when the Australian wildfires were happening. So I think that was in 2019, the end of 2019. That's where I first was told by spirit a huge ego death is coming and it will affect the whole world. And leading up to that, though, and this was for 8 months, maybe even a year leading up to that, was I kept, when I would be in meditation, I would see this giant cloud starting to cover the whole world. And I interpreted it as something really big is about to happen to our world, and it will affect everybody and in every country. Nobody will, be um, unaffected by it. And I think that was the pandemic. But and then when that started, I would say it was, I think, March of that year, maybe even February of 2020. No, I think it was March. It was like when it really started to take hold. Spirit showed me again that the purpose of this is to bring everything that needs to change into the center. And then it was around August of last year where they told me very clearly, over this next several months, and especially at this time, so the beginning of 2022, that there would be a massive societal ego death. And then they showed me, they showed me in January that by the end of March, a lot will have happened. I don't have the reference points to see all of exactly what's going to happen. And I wish I could, because even with the pandemic, all I knew was something huge was coming, and it's going to affect everybody, and it's going to be all over the world, and it's going to be very intense for everybody. But I didn't see what it was. I don't think I could conceptualize a virus taking over the planet. So I don't even think that they would have been able to see that, or that I would have been able to see that. But yeah, I think this is definitely we're on point. And if anyone wants a further prediction, world energy wise, 2023 is a rebuilding year, and 2024 is a complete positive rebirth. So that's where maybe it's after the rebirth, because everything feels like it's finally settled in 2024. Everything's running smoothly. People are in a good place again, and they're in a better place, and the world's in a better place than what it has been for a very long time. And it's not perfect, but it's, better. So yeah, Jennifer says there are so many people who are going through things we don't know about. So, yes, kindness matters, and it is something we need to act upon every day. It also shows the person we are, the world. It also shows the people we are. The world needs good people and caring people. I agree with you, Jennifer. I mean, it's actually sometimes it's harder to be kind when we're, in the rush of the difficulty and the volatility. But if the whole world practiced taking a few minutes to try to center before they react to something, man, would we ever have a better place. And I speak from experience with that. I used to be really, really hot-headed. I mean, I was one of those people that if someone looked at me sideways, that was it. Like the bitch came out, and it was something that took a long time to be able to not do and to realize that anytime somebody's a jerk, it's either a misunderstanding or they're in pain because nobody's born an asshole. And I really believe that. I don't think anyone in this planet's born an asshole. I think that our world is very good at creating them, and there's still an element of personal responsibility where each of us has to do our best to not become that, or if we dip into that realm of crappiness, to correct ourselves and heal ourselves as quickly as possible. But I think that I think that we get, um, yeah, I forget what I was going to say, but yeah, I think that we have, lots of opportunities to be kind if we just take a minute to realize that the person who's pissing us off probably isn't really an enemy. Vicky says, "Wow, I don't know if I could get these messages and stay calm. You're amazing. Thank you." Oh, thanks, Vicky. Well, the way that I look at it is like, um, I don't see enough detail in it to do anything about it. B, the change is needed in our world, and it's been needed for hundreds of years, probably. So, who am I? Who am I to warn anybody about it? And three, um, I feel like when I see things like that, and I'm not ever the only one to see things like that. Other colleagues, we usually get things around the same time. Um, I think that we're seeing it because we're supposed to be helpful to people and help people to get through these things. And so we also have to go through them ourselves. I mean, that's the maybe the harder part isn't seeing what's going to happen, but knowing that I have a calling to support other people going through it while I'm also going through it. And I honestly think that part can be the challenging part. Like there are definitely days where I've had a complete meltdown at 6:55 and was live at 7. And it's not hard. It is hard. It is hard to do that sometimes, but what makes it not hard is knowing that when I go live at 7 after my 6:55 nervous breakdown, that I'm in good company because everyone else is probably in the middle of theirs. So there's an element of community with it on some level. Donna says, I've had a feeling for a few years that our world will change, not necessarily for the bad, but very different than what we know the world to be today. There will be bumps and bruises along the way, but not sure how difficult the bumps will be. Not sure exactly how our world will be, but it will be different. I agree. I think it's going to be better. I do. I think it will be eventually. Eventually. I mean, the world right now is dealing with generations worth of crappy beliefs, right? And like even if we look at it at an economical level, right, the economy in the world is very challenged in certain sectors especially. But if we look at the way that our economy is built, it's not built to have a happy life. It is not built to honor people. It is not built to bring souls in human form together and do good things in the universe itself. I mean, the economy is not built for any of that. And so how is it dysfunctional, right? So if it's not built for that, okay, then how is it causing the harm that it does? Well, it's causing the harm because, Billy and Bob have to be at work from 9 to 5 and they have a quota to meet, and it doesn't matter that Billy's mother just died a week ago. He still has to go there and meet that quota, or else he's not going to have food on his table. And that is an incredibly toxic thing, even at a physical level, or maybe even especially at a physical level. Our bodies aren't meant to do that, and they're not meant to be under this constant stress. And so, how do we challenge the economy? Well, a pandemic shows up and pulls everyone out of the workforce. So, people have to learn to take care of and honor the people that serve them. And it's a really hard thing for the whole world, but I think this is an example of the way that a societal ego death happens in real time. And the universe is saying, your world is hurting people, like it kills people. Just being there is a death sentence. And I mean, obviously, we're all going to pass at some point, but being in this world is a death sentence just by the very nature of its function. And so the universe is saying, well, you're in an ascension path. You are shifting, you are transmuting, you're transcending. And now we're going to challenge these structures in order for you as human beings to shift things so that it's a healthier place for everybody. And that's the basis of the last few years. And it's hard. It's very hard. So Carrie says, I listened to your session on Cybercast, a fan made podcast today. The discussion was amazing. I recommend for everyone to listen. It was very enlightening. Oh, thanks, Carrie. You know what? I had such a good time on that podcast. Um, Martin is such a cool guy. We've actually become friends ever since that. And well, I think even we started kind of being friends even before that. But he's a very, very talented, very insightful guy himself. And he's really, really cool. And yeah, I was very happy with the way that podcast went. I think that the questions that he had and the discussion that we got to have was like really cool. So thank you. I appreciate that you listened to it and that you enjoyed it. Lorraine says, how will China come out of this? And is China to really blame for all this? I don't even think I can go into to that. The reason why, Lorraine, is that I really try to stay non-political on my page, and not because I don't think politics are important. I think they're vital for change and all of that. But I think that there are important conversations to have in an environment where it can be fruitful. And I've just never felt, and my spirit guides have kind of told me that's not this page. Which is hard for me, honest. If I'm being honest, I have a hard time with that because I think that politics, I grew up my dad, his background was political science, and so I've always had an interest in politics and things like that. And in history, political history and all kinds of things. So when my spirit guides years ago said, Matthew, politics cannot enter your work because it's not going to be helpful for anybody, I was a little bit sad about it because it's discussions I would absolutely love to have. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, I've been shut down by spirit on that one. And I think it's because it's so polarizing, and everybody has different views, which is good. I think that variety is important, but because my mission with all of this work is to bring people together, and have challenging discussions, but in a way that relates to them, at a personal level that can build community rather than create an army, an army of people. So I think that's it's important. I would rather have this be a safe space for people away from the world where we can all come and recharge for a minute and maybe try to make sense of things for sure. And find peace and acceptance and a path forward and encouragement, and we can inspire each other and all of that. I think to me that's important. um Sorry, that was like 20 minutes longer 20-minute longer explanation than what I was going for, but I appreciate you bringing it up, Lorraine. I really do. um Heidi says, you're so appreciated. Oh, thank you, Heidi. I appreciate that. Donna says, it was very interesting. The podcast's questions were well thought out and your answers were heartfelt and informative. Well, thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. So let me ask you guys, like, let's have some fun with it. Okay, so if we had 1 hour to change our world around for the better, but we had unlimited resources to do it, what would you guys recommend? And then I'll tell you what I think, or we'll come up with a plan together. I think this I think that this would be really a cool little experiment. Like if we had 1 hour and unlimited resources, uh, but let me put one more thing in that. Okay, the resources cannot necessarily be money. Okay, so we can't just say, all right, let's feed everyone in the world, by giving those countries or those communities money. We have to we can use resources to organize people and things and all of that, but we can't just hand over cash. What would the order of operations be, do you guys think, if we had 1 hour to change the world for the better, where it's better for literally everybody? What would we what would that look like? Sandra says, we would only be allowed to work 3 days a week at maximum and have an opportunity to actually enjoy our lives and feel at peace without worrying about healthcare or money. I friggin' love that, Sandra. I love that. That's awesome. That's beautiful. Lisa says everyone would have a warm and functional home. I love that as well. Vicky says give everyone good health. I like that too. Tara says I think corporate greed causes a lot of problems, so cap what their profits are and allocate that money. Fair enough. I agree. Pat says clean water everywhere in the world and lots more dancing. Oh, I love that. Joanne says plant trees and gardens. Heidi says cure cancer, feed everyone. I love where you guys are going with this. Mylu says more love, less hate. I love that. Bobby Joe says, I believe being kind. Imagine how wonderful that would be. I'm right there with you, Bobby Joe. You know what I would do? So if we had like unlimited resources in 1 hour to come up with a plan. I honestly feel like I don't even know how I would do it, but I would want the entire world to literally hug each other. And maybe we need to get some like Hogwarts level things going in that hour. But I feel like it would be really, really cool if there was just like this big message that went across the whole world at the same time and just basically told everybody just to stop for a second, to breathe, to remind them that all of them are worth it, to bring everybody some peace, just to literally just breathe for a few minutes and know that in that moment nobody hates them, nobody's hated, nobody's hunted, nobody's discriminated against, just in that moment that all things are forgiven and um that we have an opportunity to shift it in a positive direction. And I know that may not sound like something that would change the world, but I actually think it would because, a lot of people, they write themselves off. They continue on harmful paths because they believe that they believe that they're bad people. So they allow themselves to be bad people. And I think that's a huge problem. And so if everybody knew that they were instantaneously forgiven and accepted, and were encouraged to allow that to be in their heart. I think it could do big things. Marianne says we would send skilled people to underdeveloped areas to figure out how to improve that area and make everyone self sufficient and happy so that no one would want to relocate elsewhere or feel life was better elsewhere. I love that. That's beautiful. Suzanne says eradicate homelessness and nor pro notion of love, gratitude, and peace. Love it. Beautiful. Sarah says everyone to stop judging others, just live with kindness or love with kindness. I love that. Carla says everyone puts their devices down and have a conversation. Oh my God, Carla, I'd be so bad at that. Like my favorite way to hang out with people is we're both sitting on the couch staring at our phones with like RuPaul's Drag Race in the background. I don't know if I could do that, but I do know where you're coming from, and I think that could be cool. Or if people just had a conversation in a way that's right for them. I think that would be cool. Sally says trauma can bring the inner critique and freeze response. Very much so, Sally. Hugely. Hugely, and that's a scary thing. I always think of when I think of changing the world, I think that either can be done at the surface and worked backwards toward it can start in the hands and work towards the heart, or it can start in the heart and work towards the hands. And I'm like a big fan of starting in the heart and working towards the hands. So that means creating emotional change first, and basically mental, emotional, and personal change first, and then allowing that to go outward. But I think both are useful. So if we had that hour, took half of it to let everyone know that they're forgiven, loved, and accepted at a profound level in a way that was so powerful that they were able to set their prejudices down. Like if it was that level of powerful of a world healing where everybody could just set down all of the hatred, the anger, the fear that they carry because they know everybody else is setting it down as well. It would be like everybody in a battlefield just deciding to put their guns down and not fight. I think if we did that for the first half hour and then all of these amazing suggestions of how to bring things to underdeveloped countries and like shift the corporations and all of that. If we did that in the second half hour, man, do I ever think that would be so cool. I think that would just be the best hour ever. First half hour changes the heart. The second half hour changes the world. Love it. I think we came up with a good plan, guys. If anyone has any idea who we need to call to make that happen, we should probably do that. Vicky says exactly right. Emotional change must happen first. Take hate out of people's hearts. That would be so wonderful. Yeah, I really think it would. And I think if that hatred was gone and that fear was gone and that weaponizing of beliefs was gone. Um, I really think it could shift a lot of things because if we all worked together somehow from a loving place, there's nothing that we couldn't accomplish as a world. It really, like, even things like what's been happening, a terrifying pandemic that is, especially at the beginning, but was very deadly. If we all came from a place of love, acceptance, and understanding, and truly all of us, in whatever way we're able, wanting to help the people around us in whatever way we can, I think that that would have shifted so many things. I really do. Donna says learning how to share energy, which helps to bring you to a higher vibration. Love that, Donna. Beautiful. Sally says addiction with phones brings anxiety. Yeah, it very well can, Sally. See, I'm a little different when it comes to the addiction, like, well, not the addiction to technology because addiction's addiction, but the people who like stare at their phones, I'm one of them. And so I'm a little bit different when it comes to that, only because I know that a lot of other neurodivergent people as well, they struggle with conversation, and they struggle with, staring at someone in the eyes and actually talking. And even if they do it, it can still be hard. Like, their internal atmosphere can be brought into a really hard place with it, and that just comes down to their neurological processing. And so I'm a big fan of parallel play. So, like, when I hang out with friends, I'm like the happiest when we're just sitting there doing our own things and not really talking to each other, but just enjoying each other's company. So, I think, like, I see it differently when somebody says, "Well, you're always staring at your phone." Uh, I'm kind of like, from a different perspective, I'm like, well, if the person's still enjoying the company, and even though it's not the most interactive, I think there's nothing wrong with that because everybody has different capabilities as a human. And I know for me personally, I have about 5 minutes of eye contact type conversation in me, and I'm going to have a nap. And I don't care how much I love you, it's still happening. If people want to hang out with me for longer than 5 minutes, they know that they should bring something to entertain themselves with. Um, and so, yeah, I'm always aware of that difference. We all have different ways of being. Ryan says, I would want Mother Nature and the animals to be able to speak to us within that hour to let us know exactly what they're feeling about the environment. Frig, I love that, Ryan. That is beautiful. I love, love, love that. I love that. And I think you're absolutely right. I think that would be an amazing addition in that hour. And, animals are phenomenal. They're so healing, and they're so loving and kind and understanding, and, I know that a lot of us, especially on this page, we're animal lovers, and I think that's beautiful, Ryan. I love that. Yeah, I would be so down for that. I was telling my partner today that we really do need an emu at some point in our lives. He rolled his eyes in a cute way. I think he's used to me picking out a new exotic pet idea pretty much every day of the week, so it's kind of funny. Roseanne says animals would offer such insight. I agree, Roseanne. I think they absolutely will. They absolutely do, in fact, I think. Jennifer says, help an animal or elderly person. Let them know love still exists. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I get what that's like. In the summer, I sit outside covered in squirrels and chipmunks with blue jays sitting in my hand like for 8 hours sometimes on a day off. So I'm the first one to agree with that. 100%. Sally says, "Do you have a dog? I see a dog, small dog with you." I do not have a small dog. Um, but yeah, I just love animals so much. Love animals so much. Mylu says, I like the phone too. I love people, but my energy goes down quickly when I'm out there. Yeah, same with me, Mylu. I totally understand that. 100%. Like, whenever, yeah, whenever I, we're having people over, like, they're very well aware that, we'll play a board game, we'll play a round of poker or something, we'll have some fun, we'll hang out, and we're throwing a movie on and, like, enjoying each other's company without having to entertain each other. I like it. Donna says, I had a wild bird let me pick him up. It was so special. That's beautiful, Donna. That's amazing. Lorraine's as mad as the animal whisperer. I don't know what it is about me and animals. Like I just love them so much, and for whatever reason, they're not really afraid of me. So I'll take that as a huge blessing. Huge blessing. Even last in the fall, I was sitting out back with the raccoon and we were just hanging out on the back step. And all of a sudden I saw this and it was at night because the raccoons are nocturnal and this one came late at night. So I would sit out in the back and I would sit on a chair and it would sit in the other chair and we would just hang out. And it would eat peanuts. And then one night I saw this black and white thing gunning it towards me up the step, like it was coming through the backyard, came up on the steps, came up on the deck, was running right towards me, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's a skunk," and it just scared the crap out of me. Not that I don't love skunks, I really, really, really love them, I think they're beautiful, I love what they symbolize. Our world could seriously take a lesson from skunk symbolism right now. But I was so just not wanting to smell terrible if it got spooked from, the raccoon or and if another animal came or the dog started clawing at the back door. I was a little bit worried that I was going to get drenched in skunk spray, especially because it was really right beside me. So I went in the house really calmly but quickly. But yeah, that was twice in 2 days. It tried to hang out with me. It was so cute. I wish that I wasn't so freaked out about it. Beth says, the strength of my social battery is inversely proportional to the number of participants. And yes, sometimes it's nice to hang out in a way that's more relaxing so you don't have to be on every minute. I understand that. People are always surprised when I say that I'm fairly introverted. Because I'm always doing these live videos and podcasts and radio stuff and all these things and events, and especially in the past a lot of public speaking, and they're like, but you're so outgoing. And I was like, yeah, I love people a lot, but in public speaking, it's not draining because it's not a two-way conversation. I'm just either talking or channeling, and and it's different than sitting in a small group where you're talking with people. It doesn't have that same energy. And you know when it's a small group, you're having a conversation. If you're public speaking, you're just talking and you're channeling that information or whatever, and it's just totally different. um yeah, totally different. Bobby Joe says our pets absolutely communicate with us. I know my old boy Charlie is asking what's with this haircut I got today. I feel his message. Oh my god, that's adorable. I love that, Bobby Joe. That's amazing. Lorraine says, I'm so over this heat here and the humidity. It's 31 Celsius and 95% humidity. Can you send some of your snow our way? Oh my God, that is not a nice temperature, Lorraine. I feel you on that. That doesn't sound nice at all. That doesn't sound nice at all. Karen says, I love people, but yet I'm having a fire in the Rocky Mountains. The quiet is blissful. That sounds beautiful, Karen. I haven't been to the Rocky Mountains in forever. I used to go there quite a bit. Oh, Ariel Tubbins. Hey, Matt, just popping in for a bit while I sow about 1 million snapdragon seeds. Oh, man, Ariel, I can't wait to see what you come up with. Cannot wait to see what you come up with for the spring. So, Ariel owns a farm out in my hometown of Carleton Place, Ontario, Canada. And she owns this amazing flower farm. And I mean, if you want to see the most amazing, you know, homegrown, hand picked flower bouquets and other little things that she creates that are amazing. If you really want to see something breathtaking, look her up. I think that she creates the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bouquets and arrangements. And yeah, Ariel, please, please put your page link up. It is what you do on that farm. I think is very special, and I think that all of the things that you create, like the plantain salves and all of those things that you do, I think that's just medicine from the earth. And I mean, you and me have known each other for a long, long, long time, and you've always been somebody who works at bringing healing with a side of revolution to in the best way ever to the world. And every time I see, pictures of the things that you create and the flower arrangements that you do and pictures of the gardens and everything, it just has the most beautiful vibe. And I believe that anybody would be very lucky to have an arrangement from your farm or anything that you've created because you just put so much into it. And I think that the healing that can come from that is pretty profound. So you're very welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure. Let me see if I don't know if you were able to tag your link because I'm the way that this live is working is I'm using like a kind of like a streaming client um in order to get that. So I'm just gonna find your page so I can make sure that the link Urban Farm found it. Um, yeah, yeah. All right. I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to put it in the chat. There we go. There we go. So if you want to check out her work and all of her awesome things that she makes, uh, that's the link. It's just so good. So good. And I'm so excited to see what she has. So yes, she's like a heal she brings healing with a side of revolution. I think that would be the best possible thing that I could phrase that I could use for Ariel Tubbins. She says flowers really are healing though. I love the joy they bring people and the stories about their memories when they come visit. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Suzanne says Matthew is the streaming link. The reason we can't see live. No, I've disabled my camera. I didn't feel like having to stare at a camera tonight. I just wanted to hang out and chat with you guys. Um, yeah, that would be why you can't see me. Good question though. Roseanne says, "Oh, cool, Bobby Joe." What did Bobby Joe say? Bobby Joe says, "Me as well. I'm just a short drive away." Oh, awesome, Bobby Joe. Yeah. Ariel, you should just totally do tours. I don't know if you do tours of your farm, but that would be really cool. Lorraine says, "One day, Matt, I'm going to get one of your free readings from you." I hope so. My hope always is that well, my intention always is that whoever needs the readings on a Monday night receives them. That's always my intention. And at any event that I do, like anything that I do where there's readings, especially if it's in a group where not everyone is guaranteed to get one, I always intend that whoever needs it receives it. But my also hope is when somebody says, I really hope tonight's my night, I always say in my head, I really hope tonight's your night too. Because I don't have any control over it. But I always am, wanting to wish that for people as well. Always. Because I think that I think it's a beautiful thing. Ryan says, "You're awesome, Matthew. I like this hangout." Well, thanks, Ryan. I'm glad that you're here hanging out with all of us. I really am. And these hangouts to me on a Friday, our Friday night crew that we have going here is such a positive vibe for everybody. I think, at least I feel it for me. I look forward to our time together Friday nights. I think that the conversations that we have. Sometimes they're really funny and crazy and slightly inappropriate. Sometimes they're very deep and philosophical. Sometimes they're a mix of everything. And I think that's really freaking special. And I'm so grateful that you guys hang out with me on Fridays for sure. Hi, Ina. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So I have to obviously because because I'm live and I've got an event next Thursday, I will give 1 second of promotion for my event that I have coming up. So next Thursday, which is the 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, Eastern Standard Time, I am doing a meditation and messages night. So there is a half hour, or not necessarily half an hour, but like the first part of it is a guided meditation. I do not pre-write it. It is completely inspired by spirit in the moment based on the people there. And then after the meditation, then I do readings for as many people as I can. We do readings, we do messages. It's a small group. It's not big like Monday nights. There's a handful of people. And a handful, I think the max amount of people that can be there is like 55 people. But usually it's a smaller group than that. So if anybody is interested, I am posting the registration link now, and you can find that. Um, yeah, you can find that at that link. It's $25 Canadian for the evening. It runs about an hour at the longest. So that is meditation and messages night next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It runs about an hour, and the feedback that I've received from doing those meditation messages nights is that everybody really likes them, and people find healing and peace in that time, and the messages are always fun as well. So it is a lot of fun, and it's I think a great sort of pre-ending to a week for sure. Um, Linda says, so looking forward to this. Can't wait. I can't wait too. I really love them. I really love them. Melody says, I just love listening to you and your thought process. I often think, when I think of my thought process, I think of like that GIF where there's like a dumpster on fire going down like a flooded stream. But hey, if it helps other people, I'm cool with it. Vicky says, you gave me a reading the first time I'd ever found you. It was just really life changing for me. I was so happy hearing it, and I often go back and listen to it. It meant the world to me. Oh, thank you, Vicky. I appreciate your validation and your profound compliment. I think that that is amazing, and I'm truly grateful for that. So thank you. I love knowing that my work with spirit brings healing and help to people, and that's pretty special. So thank you. Joanne says it is amazing. I love the last one. Looking forward to next week. Oh, thanks, Joanne. Yeah, I really have fun doing those. And the meditations, to me, it's fun because it's spirit inspired. So when I started, I just kind of close my eyes and see where we go, and they inspire me with the imagery, and I basically just use that to lead the meditation. And last time, I remember a lot of people had a pretty emotional experience. I remember in the chat, people were saying once the meditation was finished that they were lots of tears and a lot of healing happened. So I was grateful for that. Donna says Matthew is disabled. The camera wants to chat tonight. No craft. Yes. Thank you, Donna, for explaining that. I didn't notice that people were wondering. But yeah, your computer is not broken. I promise, my camera's off. I literally have my legs kicked up and on and off and just chilling with you guys. So, what's everyone up to this weekend? What crazy adventures are you all off on? And no doubt that it's something amazing. I'm going to be teaching on Sunday. We're moving into week 4 of the 6-week class, and I'm like so super excited for it. I'm sure Bobby Joe is sitting there being like, "Oh crap, what's Matthew going to make us do now?" But actually, this is one of my favorite parts of this entire course to teach Bobby Joe, and I'm looking forward to it. Kelly says, celebrating my mom's 80th birthday. That's amazing. That's amazing. Ariel says, funeral tomorrow for an old friend. I'm sorry to hear that, Ariel. I'm really sorry to hear that. Bobby Joe says, and I'm looking forward to it. Well, I think Bobby Joe, you just killed it last week. You did such a good job. It was awesome. Melody says, getting a massage at Pure Lotus tomorrow. So excited. I think anybody who goes to Pure Lotus at any time should be excited. Truly, that's a magical place. Carrie Lee Stockwell, me and her have been friends forever, for years and years and years, and she is a truly gifted healing facilitator. She's a truly gifted medium. She's a gifted teacher. She comes from the heart. She is really, really, really cool. Catherine says we're doing a couples retreat at Pure Lotus tomorrow. Beautiful, Catherine. Man, I feel like I should be going to Pure Lotus tomorrow. Everyone's going there. That sounds amazing. And I don't blame any one of you for going to Pure Lotus at all. Like I said, Carrie Lee is a really, really cool person and very, very talented. And I think that the environment that she's created there is pretty special. And I'm so glad that she started doing readings again. Like, she's really gifted, like, her readings are phenomenal. So, I'm just very, very, very happy that she is offering them again as a service because she should. And I had been telling her that for a while. I was like, "Carrie Lee Stockwell, you shall read." And she was like, "I'm taking a break from readings." I'm like, "I don't care. People need your help." I'm kidding. I wasn't that abrasive, but I do try to encourage her because she's really good. Kim says, "I'm meeting friends for a cold water dip tomorrow, then class with you on Sunday." Kim, I am so happy that you're here tonight. Yeah, I'm excited for class on Sunday too. I really am. Yeah, Monday, Friday, Sunday, and then of course seeing clients through the week. It's pretty awesome. I love teaching. Love teaching. Jordan says, "Hello, Matthew. I love watching your lives. I cannot wait to get a reading with you. I'm so wishing you weren't so booked." Aw, I'm sorry, Jordan. I'm one person and I try my very best. Jen says, "Now I'm nervous for Sunday." Don't be nervous, Jen. Oh my God, all the classes here. Don't be nervous, Jen. Not at all. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I, I, uh, I'm really proud of this group. Actually, in class last Sunday, it was really I was so impressed with there wasn't anybody where I was worried. Like, everybody just did this amazing jobs, and all of their exercises, all of their readings were fantastic. There wasn't anybody where I was like, "Hmm, let's work with you extra hard," because everyone did just such an amazing job. Ryan says, "You guys, I'm buying myself roses. I'm making myself a romantic dinner. I'm taking a really nice bath, treating myself how I want to be treated until my soulmate gets here. Treat yourself." That is beautiful, Ryan. That is beautiful. And I'm really happy that you're doing that for yourself. I think that kind of self-love, self-care, that's important. And it is telling the universe how you want to be treated, right? And I think that's beautiful. And I think you should absolutely do that. I think you absolutely should do that. Love that. Elena's is going to Yosemite tomorrow, hoping to catch the fire fall around sunset. What's the fire fall? I know where Yosemite is, the park is generally, but I is that where Old Faithful, the geyser is? I think that's in Yosemite. Kelly says, "Sadly got to run now, but I want to wish you all a wonderful night and a love-filled weekend." Have a good night, Kelly. Thanks for being here with us. Thanks for being here. Everyone's supporting Ryan in his beautiful day that he's creating for himself. I really think that is amazing. I really do. I think we should all do that for sure. Jordan says, "Oh, please, no need to be sorry. I'm just going to be stalking your page like crazy to make sure I steal." But aw, aw. Ina says Yosemite's in California. Let me grab my phone here. I'm gonna look up Yosemite because I know that I know it. And I've obviously heard about it a million times, but Yosemite, let me look it up. Oh my God, that's a beautiful place. Wow, I'm just looking at pictures. That is stunning. Okay, so everybody has a winning weekend ahead of them. Okay, Enos's Old Faithful is in Yellowstone. Okay, yes, I think that I was confused. I was very much confusing those two places. In Yellowstone, I think is that in more than Northwest? I think, right? And Yosemite's in the Southwest. My geography needs work, guys. Especially, I think my Canadian geography is probably not so terrible. But yeah, maybe my US geography could use some work. The energy of Old Faithful, by the way, look, I've never been there, but every video I've ever seen, even from when I was a kid, I got the most amazing vibe from the geyser Old Faithful. I don't know what it is about that geyser, but it's like pure happiness. It just wants to make people happy, and it's a very joyful thing. Sally says, "Feeling called to nature, going to the lake near me and walk around the parks filled with deer as well." That sounds awesome, Sally. Melinda says, have to run. I have to run. Thanks for this lovely, calming chat. Exactly what I needed tonight. Have a great weekend, Matthew and everyone. You have a great weekend too, Melinda. Jordan says, my weekend is just going to consist of running errands with my 3 kids, hoping to do a family vacation soon. I love that. I mean, the family vacation. I don't know if I would want to run errands while herding children. But you know what? It sounds amazing anyway. Family time is important. Ina says, I've been there. Geysers are awesome. Yeah, I've never seen a geyser. I've seen like a lot of other natural things, but a geyser is not one of them. And I just think that would be very cool. I've been in the hot springs before in the Rocky Mountains. That was pretty nice. And the Cabot Trail. Has anybody here been to the Cabot Trail in Nova Scotia? If you want to feel like you are riding a roller coaster with absolutely no safety at all, try the Cabot Trail. I don't think I'd ever been more terrified in my life on a road than when I went on the Cabot Trail. It was definitely scary. So I was with my family and we were in this like a van. It was like a Ford Aerostar or something, and we're like trying to get up one of the not even biggest hills in the Cabot Trail, and we're like barely making it to the top. I mean, the van is struggling to the top of this hill, and right when we get to the top of it, guess what? It's time to go back down. And so it's this entire long journey of this huge hills and turns. And don't get me wrong, it is breathtakingly beautiful. I mean, it is truly picturesque. It is the stuff of postcards. But oh my God, if you want to feel what it's like to be in a roller coaster, drive the Cabot Trail. It is absolutely petrifying. Elena says the firefall happens in February. Firefall happens when the setting sun reflects off of Horsetail Fall at a certain angle, which lights up the upper part of the falls and creates in blazing orange and red hues. That sounds amazing. I would absolutely love to see something like that. That sounds stunning. Karen says the Hannah Highway in Maui is crazy too. Yeah, yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Hawaii, I've heard, is an amazing place. I've never been there, but I've heard it's amazing. Um, let's see what else you guys are saying. Karen, Roseanne says amazing. Yeah. Well, guys, let's get into our closing prayer for the evening, and we will, I will let you guys get your weekend started. And this has been a really fun night. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. This has been a wonderful end to the week for me. And I always like you guys know at this point, I always look forward to hanging out with you guys any chance I get. So thank you for being here with me and spending some of your Friday night hanging out with me. So for anybody who is into prayer, you can join in. If you're not, you can either leave or just listen. There's zero judgment for not joining in. I know that everybody has different beliefs. And even though I say the word God in the prayer, if you are a praying person and you don't identify with God as a higher power, that's cool. Go with whatever you believe your higher power to be. There's no wrong on this at all. All right. So let's do our closing prayer. Dear God, Spirit, and the great Mother Earth, we ask for your help and assistance at this time. We ask that love and light and peace flood the hearts of all of people on earth and all plants and animals as well. We ask that the love be so profound and so powerful and so moving that it erases hate, that it releases anger into transmutation, that it brings peace and stops division and allows us all to work together to create a better world. I pray for the healing of the sick. I pray for peace for those who are suffering. I pray for smooth passing for all of those who are in their final moments of life on earth in physical form. I also pray for protection for those who need it. I also pray for guidance for those who feel lost and direct divine connection for every single person so that they will know that they are never, ever alone. And we ask for this to the highest benefit of all of us as individuals and as a collective. And so it is. All right, guys, you have a wonderful, amazing, phenomenal, mind blowing, incredible weekend. And I will see you guys soon. For those of you who are taking my class on Sunday, I will see you then. For those of you who are going to be here Monday night for free live readings, I will see you then. For those of you who are going to sign up for Thursday's night's meditation and messages night, I will see you guys then. And I wish that all of you have a phenomenal, amazing weekend. And let's all take a tip from Ryan and do something really nice and loving for ourselves, and encourage others to do the same. Because you know what? We all deserve it. Much love, everyone. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.